That's not what I meant, and you know it. Kate's eyes were smiling, but her mouth was pursed in exasperation. I do not know what happened between you and Val, but you shouldn't let it keep you from finding happiness with someone else, if that is what you wish. I thought before I met Andrew that I would never let another man in my life again. Look at us now. As if to emphasize her point, the rare sunlight of an April afternoon in London glinted off her friend's sapphire wedding ring. Of course, I'm not letting Valentine keep me from happiness with someone else, Caro said with a laugh. Though some hidden part of her wondered if that was the truth. I've merely been very busy these past years. I've written cookbooks, collaborated on our column, and now there is the Ladies' Guide Literary Salon. How I even have time to chafe about my parents' return to London, I don't know. Really, it's amazing I was able to see you this afternoon. If Kate heard the hint of desperation in Caro's voice, she didn't let on, merely smiling in commiseration. You have been quite run off your feet, and I thank you again for taking charge of the salon. I simply couldn't have managed it with the recent changes at the paper. Kate owned the London Gazette, in which she published their joint column, A Lady's Guide to Mischief and Mayhem. I wish you had time to come to more of our meetings, Caro said. After enthusiasts of their column had written to them of their interest in sensation novels, which, like their writing, dealt with crime and murder and secrets, Caro had conceived of their literary salon. It had seemed a natural progression in Caro's mind, from discussing the real-life dangers to women in the column to talking about the fictional ones they faced in books like The Woman in White and Lady Audley's Secret. Genteel society liked to pretend that such works were outlandish and bore no resemblance to reality. But Caro, Kate, and their readers knew better. The salon was meant to create a place for their community of readers to confer over their favourite books in an environment where they felt comfortable doing so. You needn't read the book if you don't have time. Before we talk about it, we spend at least half an hour chatting about the latest happenings in town. And who would know more about that than the owner of London's most fashionable newspaper? Perhaps I will be able to drop in on a meeting soon, Kate said thoughtfully. I would like to meet all the new members. Their conversation was interrupted by the appearance of the shop's owner, Mrs. Jean-Marie Applegate, with a plate of delicate tea cakes in her hand. Thank you, ladies, for coming today, she said, in the lilting accent of her native Jamaica, as she placed the dish in the centre of the table. Her voice turned teasing. But it is not like you to drink only the tea with no pastry to complement it. When Annie told me this, I had to come and see your table for myself. Caro laughed softly. Have no fear, Jean-Marie. We are as fond of your baking as ever. I was simply waiting for a friend to join us and thought only to have tea while we waited. The frown lines on the shopkeeper's forehead smoothed. Ah, thank goodness. I could not hold up my head if the cookery expert should reject my perfectly baked cakes. Her brown eyes twinkled with mischief. She and Caro had struck up a friendship when the shop first opened, and though they shared many of the same opinions on the craft of baking, they liked to tease one another when they disagreed on technique or ingredients. I, for one, Kate said, picking up one of the lightly browned cakes, am grateful you noticed. These look delicious, and I must tell you the scents coming from the kitchen have been tempting me the whole time we've been sitting here. You enjoy the cakes, Lady Catherine. Jean-Marie smiled. There will be more when your friend arrives. Just signal Annie when you are ready. Once Jean-Marie had gone, Caro glanced at the watch pinned to the bodice of her gown and frowned. It's not like Effie to be late. I wonder what could be keeping her. Miss Effie Warrington, whom Caro had met through their literary salon and then introduced to Kate, was currently one of the most celebrated actresses of the London stage. Despite their different social backgrounds, the two women had a fondness for the same books, and Effie had been one of the first to write to Caro and Kate about her enthusiasm for the Ladies' Guide column. The subjects of misogyny and crimes committed were, perhaps, because of her profession, of particular interest to Effie. They'd also found they shared some of the same tastes in fashion and haberdashery. Effie had been particularly enthused about their appointment today, saying she would need the brief respite before playing Ophelia in tonight's premiere of Hamlet. So it was odd and out of character for the always punctual actress to be late. Perhaps something came up at the theatre, Kate asked, her eyes troubled. Or she was unable to get away. But Caro knew Effie would have sent word if she couldn't come. The two women were debating whether to leave when the tiny bells on the door tinkled.